Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, Ministers, Assistant Ministers, the Leader of the Opposition, and Members of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen at the gallery, and those tuning in today via television or Facebook. Nisambula Binaa, and a very good evening to you all. Mr. Speaker, sir, please allow me to first thank the Lord Almighty for the gift of life, His blessings, mercy, and everlasting love for this great opportunity to be present in this august house. Mr. Speaker, allow me to congratulate you on your appointment as the Speaker of this august house, and also congratulate Honorable Lenora Tabua as your deputy. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hold myself fortunate and blessed to be standing in this august house. Sir, this would not be possible without the help of so many, which I wish to thank. Mr. Speaker, sir, to my beloved parents, Ratu Gilbert Vakalalabure and Carolina Vakalalabure, I love you both and appreciate your undying love, care, and support in bringing me up to be a better person. Thank God for giving me two beautiful and supportive parents who stood by me since day one. To my siblings, Ulamila, Lelea, Rosalini, Strickland, Josefa, and Waine, thank you for your unwavering love and tremendous support rendered throughout my life. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to acknowledge my extended family members. My namesake, Ratu Rakuita Vakalalabure Senior, and Auntie Marianne, Binava Alewa Vitooni. Nanayanji and family in Christchurch, Binava Alewa Vitooni. Ratulele Kimo and Auntie La, Nava Alewa Vitooni. To my cousins in the Cook Islands, Tumbale, Soro Ino, Jiva, Tungechi, Binava Alewa Vitooni. To my family in the USA, Lavinia, Yada, and Meroni, Makereta, Uncle Ruben, Nava Alewa Vitooni. Yada and family in Delenavesi, Ratulelaite and family in Kinoya, Uncle Ned and family, Uncle Sai and my cousins in Lautoka, Namomo Lebu na Tuinanji and Radin Tuinanji Nanji Molobudu, Nava Alewa Vitooni. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to acknowledge my late grandparents, Ratu Tevita Vakalalabure, who was also a former senator and a former member of this august house, and my late grandmother, Nora Strickland, whom I spent most of my childhood days through their guidance, which has shaped the person that I have become today. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to pay tribute to my maternal grandparents, Kuku and Nau, Navalewa Visusu na Vitambangau na Sauchi. I also wish to pay tribute to my uncle, Mr. Nico Nowaikula, for encouraging me to take up politics and for always supporting me. I also pay tribute to my late uncle, Ratu Vakalalabure, may he rest in peace, a former member of this august house, for the support in my younger days. Sir, it is only right that I also extend my gratitude to my campaign team who mapped out a strategic work to get me to Parliament. And I would like to thank them. Turanga Sauvo, Ratu Pita Naromba, Mr. Luke Mayaroi, Mr. Ison Delamisi, Mr. William Mainanukuloa, and Turanga na Maibun si Edi, Mr. Samuel Waituruturu, thank you very much for the campaign and for getting me into this house. Navalev to you all. Mr. Speaker, I would also want to make a special mention to two of my lovely aunties who have always been beside me throughout my days since the first day of campaign. To my Auntie Baba in Lautoka, and nana ine. Thank you. To you both, Pinakavale, for the undying love and never-ending support to me throughout my life and in my political career. To you both, I say, Pinakavale. In addition, Mr. Speaker, I would also like to thank Mr. Penny Bono and his family and the Vanua Nauta Solo for the support rendered towards me and my campaign team, providing continuous assistance and hospitality during my campaign operation. I also wish to thank Sir Tino Tawae, Tino Tunloa, Tino Sangani, Tino Navatu, Navivano Kevin Aloman Tombona Tewa, Pinava Levu Navito Odi. And lastly, sir, to my voters who voted me in here, in Fiji and abroad, thank you very much for your support. Mr. Speaker, sir, now as I turn to my reply to the address from His Excellency the President, and I thank and support His Excellency the President's most gracious speech on the opening of the 2023-2024 Parliament. I would like to reiterate and acknowledge rendered by the Honourable Minister for Home Affairs and Immigration to the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, the Fiji Police, in working together, maintain the safety, stability, security, defence and well-being of Fiji and all Fijians, not forgetting those serving in peacekeeping duties around the world. Thank you to you all. Mr. Speaker, sir, as alluded by the Honourable Minister Pio Tukadodua, allow me to speak on behalf of the work of the Fiji Immigration Department, which is now part of the Ministry of Home Affairs and my aligned portfolio. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we all are aware, government is responsible for the managing and protecting Fiji's borders and ensuring the legal and orderly flow of people in and out of the country. In my first few weeks in government, sir, I have had the opportunity to visit immigration offices in Fiji's Central and Western Division, and I thank the management team and staff for their continuous effort in protecting the integrity and security of our borders. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also noted with great concern the tremendous resource constraints faced by our frontline teams and the department as a whole. I am humbled that the officials have expressed their sincere appreciation that a minister, even though assistant minister, can now hear their concerns directly. This has been an opportunity that these officials have not been afforded in quite a while. Let me assure the people of Fiji, and likewise the Director of Immigration, Senior Management of Immigration, and officials of the Fiji Immigration Department that I will fight for you and your concerns. I want to reassure the teams on the ground that the issues and concerns raised have been consolidated by my team, and I have prioritized them accordingly and will begin the process of addressing them one by one where possible. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of my very first priorities as Assistant Minister responsible for immigration is to commence work on the relocation of the Fiji Immigration Department headquarters, which is in a very poor condition, sir. For far too long, the department headquarters has been operating from a building which does not meet the safety requirements of the Health and Safety Work Act. It is anticipated that this new site will address the compliance work safety standard to accommodate our public at large. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this parliamentary term, government will look to progress the work of reviewing the following legislations: the Immigration Act 2003, the Immigration Regulation 2007, the Registration of Skilled Professional Act 2016, and the Citizenship Act 2009. Mr. Speaker, sir, the People's Coalition Government intends to undertake extensive public consultations to solicit the views of the people of Fiji before any such bill is tabled in this August House. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government will prioritize capability development improvements for our immigration officials, and this includes the establishment of the Migration International Data Analysis System, or in short, MIDAS, the establishment of Border Immigration Fusion Center, and the installation of additional closed-circuit television cameras at strategic spots to enable the department to improve its monitoring and surveillance. Mr. Speaker, sir, this has been an initiative in which financial assistance had been made available to the previous administration by the United Nations Development Programme, but it is unfortunate that the lack of political will placed on our national border security has delayed the progression of this project. Mr. Speaker, sir, the department will also progress with the digitization initiatives. This will be rolled out through a dedicated online application lodgement platform for permit and visa lodgements. Moreover, due to the lack of redundancy available for immigration records and files, we anticipate moving towards electronic storage of files and documents. Mr. Speaker, sir, as alluded to the Honorable Minister Pioti Kondondua, enhancing and upgrading Fiji's border will be a priority. The global COVID-19 pandemic shocked the world, and no other country was prepared to manage health issues at its ports of entry. As such, the government will walk the talk and work towards positioning our borders to a state of pandemic readiness. A more streamlined and coordinated border management approach will drive this vision. I believe that we can greatly support Fiji's largest economic sector, tourism, by ensuring safe and secure borders. To that end, border security upgrade plans are already underway for the efficient facilitation of passengers and to ensure seamless travel for those visiting our shores. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji as the connectivity hub for the region has enjoyed significant benefits. However, this has also come with negative impacts, as it has meant that we have to also become a source, destination, and more importantly, the transit point for transnational border activities. For this reason, technological advancement and digitization of services enhance Fiji's capability of early detection work at the borders. Essentially, a coordinated approach by all our border agencies, including the Republic of Fiji Military Force, the Fiji Police Force, the Fiji Revenue and Customs Service, Biosecurity Authority of Fiji, air and seaport terminal operators, and Ministry of Health and Medical Services will be established to support seamless facilitation vision and security at our main ports of entries. Mr. Speaker, sir, these plans for upgrading and enhancement are made possible by our development partners, which cushion the financial impact to government coffers, and I would like to acknowledge the assistance and continued support of our existing bilateral development partners. However, we look forward to engaging with new development partners for the continued upgrade and enhancement of our border management and security. The Fiji Immigration Department will certainly make progressive changes and modernize Fiji's border through the timely assistance of our partners. Let me say at this juncture that exciting times lie ahead of us as Fiji and visitors can look forward to modernized, effective, and efficient immigration services at our borders. Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of our international obligations, Fiji has ratified the UN Convention relating to the status of refugees, the UN Convention on statelessness, and the UN Convention on the protection of rights of all migrant workers and members of their families. This convention guides how we respond to large-scale movements and displacements such as refugees and asylum seekers. To map our responses, we need to understand the evolving migration trends to determine the quality of data and develop an informative analysis. This year, with the assistance of the International Organization of Migration, the framework for migration policy and strategy for Fiji will be formulated in consultation with our key stakeholders from the government and other sectors at large. A migration policy for Fiji will be prioritized as we recognize that managing migration will become a complex issue which would require a truly whole-of-government approach and multi-sectoral efforts towards facilitating safe, orderly, and regular migration. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, last week I had the opportunity to meet with officials from Amnesty International, where we discussed a number of concerns that the organization had published in its 2022 global report. Amnesty International raised a number of issues at the consultation which falls within the ambit of the Ministry of Home Affairs and Immigration concerning the Gestapo-style use of the Public Order Act, Immigration Act 2003, and other laws to target and silence government critics. This included the expulsion from Fiji of USP Vice-Chancellor, Mr. Pal Alwalaj. I was glad, Mr. Speaker, to reassure the team from Amnesty International that the winds of change are here and that government will act swiftly to reverse the discriminatory and undemocratic decisions taken by the previous administrations. In the past week, we have seen the joyous celebration in Nandi Airport welcoming the USP Vice-Chancellor, and likewise freedom fighters who have had to resettle overseas in fear of being persecuted in Fiji are already returning to their homeland. Mr. Speaker, sir, in closing, I wish to reiterate to this august House and the people of Fiji my commitment that during my tenure as the Assistant Minister responsible for immigration, I will do my utmost best to ensure that immigration policies and regulations are implemented with due consideration to the rights of individuals under the 2013 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, to ensure the security of our borders is maintained and enhanced, I invite members of the other side of the House, along with relevant stakeholders, to work together to ensure the safety and security of Fiji, all Fijians, and visitors to our beloved nation. I'm currently working with my team to promote the essence of unity and to collaborate across border security stakeholders and international counterparts to maintain fairness and justice within the national security jurisdiction. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I take my leave, I wish to join the Honorable Minister of Youth and the Honorable Sashi Kiran in paying tribute to the late Namomo Turangana Pibito. To my nay, Andilitiana, and to all my Tavales, my well wishes to you, and I pray to the Almighty to restore peace, comfort, courage, and love to you during this trying time. I thank His Excellency the President again for his most gracious opening address of Parliament, and thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to respond. Nakabakalevu, Florid Witi.